Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to all my friends out there in TV land. This is Senior Issues, etc. I'm your host, Vita Verdon. I've got a good show for you tonight, so hurry up, get your coffee, get your Pepsi, get whatever it is, come and sit down. This one's for you. The subject of our show tonight is the fire department and a lot of fire prevention. I have with me tonight a guest, a fireman with me. He is from the Libertyville Fire Department. His name is John Rasmussen, and he is the fire inspector.
That's correct.
He's the fire inspector, and he's going to tell us about himself, about the fire department, and about what we can do for ourselves to prevent fires and to prevent a lot of damage that could come to us easily. So good to have you on the show today,
Thank
John.
you for inviting me.
First of all, we'd like to know, I know them out there. We've become friends, we've gotten old together, and they want to know something about you. So tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I moved to Libertyville in 1978, came up from Chicago. We heard it was a very nice place to live, so we chose there. I didn't know anybody in Libertyville, so a friend across the street who was a fireman said, "Why don't you join the fire department and you get to meet some people?" So I did. In 1980, I joined the fire department. Went up through the ranks as a fireman, engineer, paramedic, and then 6 years ago I retired as a fireman, but they asked me to stay on and be the fire inspector. So for the last 6-7 years, I've been doing the fire inspector job.
Now, are you married?
I'm married. I live in Libertyville. I'd like to say hi to my wonderful wife,
No,
Carol.
we don't take that here. What we take is big smackaroonies.
A big kiss to my wonderful wife, Carol, my daughter, Becky, and
A kiss to her.
A kiss to Becky, and to my son, Andy. And I'd also like to say hi to my best buddy, Humphrey.
Okay. Now, how about for your son? He gets a kiss too.
He gets a kiss.
And so does Humphrey.
There's one to Humphrey as well.
Oh, good. Well, we're glad to know that because we like to keep those kisses going. It's contagious. Now, the next thing we want to know is a little bit about the fire department and what is the actual duties of the fire department.
Well, the Libertyville Fire Department is actually broken up into 3 different entities. We have the fire department, which everybody is aware of. We fight fires. We have the engines, the firemen. But then we also do emergency medical service. All of our firemen are trained as paramedics along with being firefighters. And then we have a third entity, which we refer to as the Fire Prevention Bureau. That's made up of my boss, Ken, and myself. And our job is fire prevention and public education. And we go out and inspect the businesses to make sure that they're safe, and then we provide fire education to the schools and to senior citizens and groups like that.
Now, you go into the schools and you give like presentation to the kids?
We do. Usually in October during Fire Prevention Week, we'll go to all the kindergartens, first grades, do basic fire prevention for them. And then as a kind of reward, we also do fire truck rides for all the kindergarten kids.
Oh, they get off on that.
They do. We have an old fire engine that we use, and we take all the kindergarten kids for rides. One of my better duties.
I bet the seniors would like that too.
They probably would. It's a fun ride.
Now, I know that there's more than one location of the fire department in Libertyville.
We do. We have 3 locations right now. We have our main station, which is on the north side of town on Milwaukee Avenue, right across from Adler Pool. Then we have our second station, which is down on the south side, right off of Gulf Road. It's kind of across the street from the sports complex there, or the hospital.
Yeah.
And then our third one is out by Abbott, out on Atkinson Road.
Oh, I know where that is. Oh, good. So that's all the locations. Well, I know in your aspect of fire prevention is also like accident prevention,
It
isn't
is. We do both. We do fire prevention and EMS or medical prevention.
Maybe you could talk to us a little bit about this medical prevention, because I think seniors really have to have this in their consciousness. It's an important issue.
Very much so. We probably the majority of our calls are for senior citizens who have either experienced some kind of medical condition or been involved in a fall or an accident of some type. So it's very important that they know about prevention.
Now, what is some of the issues that you tell them?
We probably deal with a lot of fall victims. Senior citizens probably fall more often than anybody else, and there's a lot of things that they can do to kind of help prevent that.
Okay.
They can make sure that their area is very clear, that they don't have loose things laying around, rugs, anything that they could trip on.
And those little throw rugs that they could slip.
Very easy
Those
to
are
slip.
dangerous.
Yes, they are. You really want, if you're going to have a rug like that, you want to have one that has like a rubber backing on it.
Something that
will
holds it
not
secure.
slip. Absolutely.
So that's one of the biggest factors, right?
Yes, probably the majority of our calls are for fall victims.
Well, I told you before the show that I am a fall victim, and what I did wrong was I had one of those little step ladders in the house, and they had rubber bases on them, and mine had worn out, and I hadn't checked it. So when I got to the top rung, the thing went out from under me, and I fell flat and broke my femur in 100 pieces.
Wow.
So first of all, I don't go up on ladders anymore, but it's important, I think, that if people examine all the little things that they're standing on in their house.
Absolutely, and never stand on a chair or anything that could roll or move. If you are going to use a stepladder, make sure it's in good shape. It has all its rubber feet and it doesn't slide. Very important.
And how about paper? They shouldn't have
no loose papers, no magazines, anything like that that you could step on and slide on, or anything that you could trip over.
I know I was talking to you before the show. A fireman had told me that some people had stored their old papers in the oven and then turned the oven on. And
absolutely not. You don't want to store anything near the oven that could catch fire. That would definitely be a no-no.
Well, first of all, I think that clutter, that makes one accident prone, right?
Absolutely. Also on stairs, have the stairways clear. Don't store your shoes. Don't store anything on the stairs that you could accidentally step on when you're either going up or coming down the stairs. Make sure that you have good handrails on the stairs. Make sure that you use them all the time, and go slow. Don't be in a hurry. If that phone is ringing, don't worry about it. You'll get there. And if it isn't that important, they'll call back. Don't rush, because that's when a lot of the accidents happen.
Now, I live in Liberty Towers, which is a senior building in Libertyville, Illinois, and we have these smoke detectors that are so sensitive that I live in a corner unit, and it seems to me as if I had, one time I was making oxtail stew, and the steam went off and turned on my smoke alarm.
Correct.
And there's so many times the fire department has to come to our building if someone burns toast or burns popcorn. And it's embarrassing.
Right. We are regulars over at Liberty Towers.
So, if I'm going to do any extensive cooking on my stove, I turn on the overhead fan, then I have a hunter's fan, and then I open my window.
Right.
Because the vacuum,
We'll pull it up. If you're doing cooking at the towers, make sure that you have the vent on the stove to try to pull that away. And then if you have a ceiling fan or something, that will help as well.
I wanted to ask a couple questions about, say, in the event of fire. Now, should you leave your apartment? Should you stay in your apartment? What do you recommend?
Obviously, if the fire is in your apartment, you want to leave. But at the towers, they're pretty safe units. So I would suggest staying in the unit until you're told by a fireman that you should evacuate. But stay in the unit, keep the door closed. If you see smoke or something coming in under the door, put a towel down or a rug down, anything that you can to kind of block it. But you're probably safer staying in the unit than you are leaving it.
I have another question. Now, say that you, for some reason, come out of your unit. Should you use the stairwell or the elevator?
Always, always use the stairwell. Don't use the elevators. If the detector by the elevator goes off, it will actually stop the elevator. The elevator will return to the ground floor and open up, but it won't be usable anymore. So you could be standing out there pushing the button waiting for the elevator and it's never going to come. So always use the stairs. The stairs are protected. They have the sprinkler system in there. You will be safe once you get into the stairwell.
Okay, well, I have a lot of other things we want to talk about, but I think now it's come time for what I call my pearls of wisdom. And so in my pearls of wisdom, I have a very dedicated crew member, Judy Ward, and we have a special guest here today, and it's her daughter Jennifer. She's come to see what her mother does on creating a television show. Come up here, Jennifer. I'm so happy that you could come today, and I'm happy to have you here on the show, and I want you to look in that camera, and I know you want to blow a kiss to Jamie and Maui. And who are they?
Jamie's my sister and Maui's her dog.
Jamie's your sister and Maui's your dog, right?
Her dog, yeah.
Okay, so a nice smackaroo to both of them. Okay? And once you're going to give some V signs, we're all going to do that to them. Come on. We're all giving some V signs. Okay, God bless. And you know what? You can come on the show anytime.
Thank you.
Okay, and you can bring your dog with you. Okay. Come again. God bless you. Glad you came. Now I want to get back to what this season is. And in this season, this is the Thanksgiving season of 2013. And in this Thanksgiving season, it happens also to be Hanukkah. And that hasn't happened for the last, I don't know if it's 175 years or 75 years. I think it's 175 years. So this is like more than coincidental. And the Hanukkah is like a dedication that they do. It's like a part of the Jewish tradition of dedication, and it's not going to happen for another 7,000 years. So I thought I'd mention it because I think that there's some significance to this. And so in this season, this is a season where we reflect, and what we all should have is we should all have gratitude, because you know what? Gratitude that we're alive. At my age, I'm grateful every day I get, oh, thank God I'm still alive, you know, and gratitude for the blessings that we have in our life. And this is what the Pilgrims did when they came to this country, and this is how we should open up our hearts. I know our country is going through so much travail right now that what we have to develop is we have to develop a positive attitude. Now, I see a lot of you on the street and in the highways and the byways, and you come up and talk to me, and I really like that. Also, I want you to contact me because this show is for you. It's been developed by my audience, which has grown over the last 13 and a half years, almost 14 years. And so I want you to be in contact. And I think that our website, it will go up on the graphics at different times. You can get the website. I'm going to give it to you. Senior Issues, etc., etc.org. Now, if you go onto the website, there must be, I'd say about 30 shows online, and you can go and watch any one of those shows, and those shows go all the way across the United States. But if you have an idea for a show, if you think that you'd like to be a guest on the show, if you want to contribute to this show, because we're all volunteers and we have our 501c3 and you could take it off your income tax, you can go into the website and you can see how you can contact me, because what we want to do is we want to enlarge it. We're seniors just like you are out there, and We want to be examples for you. If we could do this, you could do it too. And we're very much advocates of volunteering, because when you volunteer, you're giving out, and then you're not thinking about all your aches and pains. You're thinking about giving out, and that creative juices running through your veins is what keeps you going and keeps you alive. And what we're going to connect to is we're going to reconnect right back into John, and we're going to talk a little bit more about fire prevention and accident prevention and how to prolong safety. And not only he is educating us, we have to educate ourselves and educate our neighbors.
Correct.
We have to pass it on, right?
That's correct.
All right, so I know you go into the grammar schools. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, the biggest thrill is the fire truck, right?
It is, yes, for the kindergarten kids.
But what are some of the questions that the little ones ask?
We always they ask about, what should they do if there was a fire in their house? And we talk about how they should have a plan in place to leave the house, to have a meeting place outside, how to call 911, what should they tell them. We talk a lot about stop, drop, and roll, which is important if they were to ever catch their clothes on fire.
Well, tell us about stop, drop, and roll. Just stop right here and tell us.
Okay. Well, if you're ever in a situation where your clothes might catch on fire, you don't want to run, you don't want to panic. What you want to do is cover your face with your hands.
Like this?
Yep, cover your face with your
Okay.
hands, get down on the floor,
Okay.
and roll.
And roll, and that. That makes sense.
It suffocates the fire, and the fire
You
goes
got
out.
that? Stop,
Drop,
drop,
and roll.
Yeah, it almost sounds like rock and roll.
It does.
Stop, drop, and roll.
And it's important
That's
to
a
cover
big
your
tip.
face to kind of protect your face from the fire and the flames.
And now, say if there's a fire in the house, they should get out immediately.
They should. They should have a meeting place outside, whether it be the mailbox, the tree, the fire hydrant, whatever it is, but have it set up where everybody's going to meet outside the building.
Now, do you recommend to households that they go through a little fire drill?
Absolutely. They should practice it once a year, just like the schools do. Have a place to meet and practice it.
Oh, that is good. Now, on safety prevention, what they should do is go through their house, whether it's an apartment or a house, and I want to go through those things. One of the things I like is you have a thing that they put up on the refrigerator. Let's talk about that first.
Okay, I brought one with me. It's a little card that would go on your refrigerator, and it basically provides information about yourself, your medical history, your drugs that you might be taking, the medicines you're taking, any kind of emergency contact information. And when the paramedics or the firemen come in, they're trained to kind of look at your refrigerator to pick this up and then get the information right from there. Because you might be in a situation where you can't provide it. So then we can pick it up. And these little cards are available at your fire department. Just make an inquiry at the fire station, and if they have them, they'll certainly provide them.
Okay,
it's a great idea.
Did you get that now? Just stop into any fire station, and I know the show goes into Evanston and to Vernon Hills, and now John happens to be from Lake County, so all of the Lake County stations are providing them, and if the Evanston and Vernon Hills don't have it, then they should get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They can contact us, and we'll send them over for them.
Right. Okay, what we've gotten down to is accident prevention. And another thing that I think is to talk about, because a lot of people should not be going on ladders anymore.
No.
So they should have all their things in their shelves put on that they can reach it, right?
If you can't reach things on the third shelf in your cabinet, don't put things up there. Put them at a convenient level where you can reach them standing on the floor and not having to climb on ladders or chairs or step stools or anything like that. That will help greatly.
And what do you think is one of the biggest preventions to stop fires?
Most of our fires will occur either in the kitchen or maybe in the sleeping areas. By all means, never smoke while you're in bed. That's a big thing. In the kitchen, always pay attention to what you're cooking. Don't walk away and leave it, because that's when you'll kind of forget about it, and that's when we have problems.
Well, you know, one of the things that I do to prevent that, like if I have something on the stove, I always put a timer, and
Very good.
my timer has a loud bell, a real loud bell on it, and it rings and rings and rings and rings, because you know, it's so easy to get that senior moment, and it just like goes out of your mind.
Absolutely. You could walk into the other room, catch something on TV, get engrossed in that, and then forget about your cooking.
I know sometimes, like I open up the freezer door and I think, what did I come in here for? I get one of those senior moments, you know. I think we all get those senior moments.
Absolutely.
I know that it's a question that I ask anybody that comes on the show is, what drove you to becoming a part of the fire department? Was it your next door neighbor, or?
He got me introduced to the fire department.
It was mostly to connect with the community?
It was, but once I got involved with the fire department and I started doing actual fire jobs, it was just amazing the gratitude that I got back from doing it and helping people. And the position that I'm in now, where I can talk to seniors and talk to the kids and stuff like that, it's just so self-rewarding that it's the best job in the world.
Right. Now, when you were a fireman, were you ever really frightened in any one of your jobs?
Oh, on occasion, but they do an excellent job of training you so that you know what to expect. And if you know what to expect when it happens, you know what you should do and how you should handle it.
Did you drive the truck?
Absolutely. We drove all the trucks that were there, all the big hook and ladders and engines and the ambulances. Libertyville is an outstanding department, and they get everybody involved and trained to do this. So.
And then do you have to spend 24 hours on and?
When you're a full-time fireman, you work 24 hours, and then you're off for 2 days, and then you come back.
Who does the cooking at the fire department?
Well, that's figured out usually right away. Whoever is the best cook usually gets the job. And everybody sits down for the evening meal, and we all eat together. Your breakfast and lunch is kind of up to you, but the evening meal, we all get together and sit down and eat.
Now, your job now is basically in the office, and then you go out with the presentations?
I do presentations, and I do a lot of fire inspections too. I go out to all the businesses in town, I go through their buildings, make sure that they're safe and make sure they're adhering to the fire code, and keeping themselves and the public safe.
Now, so you're in the fire prevention department. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about the other departments, like the emergency. They're like, if you would call it an ambulance or something.
Right. They're there if you call 911, or if you call, if you have a fire alarm go off, have a fire, whatever, they would respond. We usually have about 12 people per day that are working between the three stations, 12 to 13 people.
Paramedics, you're talking?
All of our guys are trained as paramedics, so they're firemen and paramedics. So if you
if somebody had a heart attack, would they call the fire department?
They would call 911. The dispatch center would put the tone out to us and say, we need an ambulance at such and such an address. Our guys would jump on the ambulance and then go for the call. Now, if a call came in and said there was a fire at a certain address, they would jump on one of the fire trucks and take the fire truck out. So they do both jobs. They do.
And this is determined by the call that goes in.
Correct. The calls that goes to our dispatch center.
Oh, so the dispatch center then divides it up. And then the other department is the actual fire itself.
Correct. So they're not, it's two departments, but it's the same people that are in both departments, our firemen.
Well, I want to get this clear. Okay, there's 3 fire stations. Now, in the 3 fire stations, is there a paramedic in each station?
All of our guys are paramedics. So at station...
everybody is a paramedic.
That's correct. So at our station 2, we might have 4 firemen paramedic working that day. They would go out on an ambulance call, or they would go out on a fire call. Whatever the call happened to be, they would take the appropriate equipment and respond to that call. So
see.
all these guys are trained both as paramedics and as firemen.
Uh-huh. Okay. Now, part of your job in fire prevention, since you are in that category, department, is to go into different like restaurants or any kind of business.
Any kind of business. We try to do an inspection in every business once per year.
So every business has a code. Do they have a code that they have to follow?
We have a fire code that they have to follow.
And they have to meet up to the standard of each code.
Correct.
And what if they're not meeting the standards?
Well, then I go in and write them up as a violation, and they have so many days in which to correct it, usually 30 days. Then I go back to see if that's been corrected. If it's not, we give them a little bit more time to correct it. And then we follow whatever we need to do to get them to get that fixed. Let's say their exit lights are out, or their fire extinguishers haven't been tested, or their fire alarm hasn't been tested. We give them 30 days to get that corrected, get it inspected, then we go back and check on it.
Now, I know like every facility has to have a medical box. Does that come under your category?
It does, and it's not, any place of assembly should have
Any place of assembly
should have
a medical box.
right. They're called AEDs, automatic defibrillators, and they should have one of those.
And do most of them meet the code of
Oh
it?
yes, absolutely. We're very good in Libertyville.
Oh, so you've got a very organized crew is in sync.
That's right. We've been doing this for a number of years now, so people are up to code. We don't have many violations.
Do you get a lot more, like with the leaves and everything in the fall, do you get a lot more fires at that time with dryness?
We get more fires in the winter because of people using additional heating devices.
Oh, heating devices.
You know, like your little portable heaters and
What
stuff
should
like
they
that.
watch? The wiring on that?
Well, a couple of things on those. Those things should be plugged directly into an electrical outlet. Don't plug them into an extension cord or an adapter of any type.
Oh, this is a good tip.
They should go directly in. They pull a lot of electricity, so they should go directly into an outlet. You want to keep all the papers, anything like that, at least 18 inches away from the device. And another thing that's very important, they should have tip protection. So if they tip over, they automatically shut off. You don't want to have them where they tip over and just lay on their side and continue to heat.
Burn.
They could set
So
fire to the rod.
what do you call that? Tip protection?
Tip protection. When they tip over, they automatically shut off.
Now, I was thinking, now with like Christmas lights and that's the same thing. They shouldn't be plugged into an outlet.
They
should be plugged into an outlet, not into an extension.
That's correct. And you want to watch how many strings you put on there. Don't go past what the manufacturer recommends. So if they only allow 2 or 3 strings plugged together, that's all you want to do. You don't want to go beyond that.
Well, we could go on and on. I like to have the fire department back periodically so you could come again in the future and update us on everything. And you know what it is now. When you out there come to the end of your rope, you tie a knot and hang on. And you know why? Because the best is yet to come. And what we want you all to do is catch the spirit. God bless you. We love you.